been waiting long. What do you got? Any questions?
What do you think of that reception you got there tonight?
Oh, it meant a lot to me. Very nice.
Are you angry at Nancy Pelosi? Are you going to speak with her?
No, I haven't spoken to Nancy at all. I mean, look, no one influenced my decision. No one knew it was coming. What I decided to do was, I didn't want to the extent that the party thought they'd lose Senate seats or House seats, that would have been the topic you would have had to cover the entire remainder of the campaign. And it wasn't worth it.
Teared up a little bit. Was it emotional for you tonight?
Well, it was. I mean, the reception was pretty overwhelming.
Do you feel like these were rejoiced, or do you think you still could have won?
Well, you know, you always think you could have won. And if you go back and look at the numbers, we weren't that far behind. It was like we talked about how we were getting blown out. That's not what we saw. But it would have been close. But what would have happened, though, if the discussion had been, was I going to cost seats for Democrats, that would have been the whole subject matter for the remainder of the campaign. You'd have to cover it, that would be the issue, and it would give him an advantage. Anyway.
All right, guys. So following Joe Biden's DNC speech last night, which is probably one of the last times we'll ever hear from Joe Biden in a capacity in which anybody cares about what he has to say, he was confronted once again on the relationship between him and Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat Party elites who staged a coup against him, okay? And, Joe Biden is, playing his role, okay? He's been a nice, good puppet by not coming out here and openly being angry at Nancy Pelosi and Obama for removing him as the Democrat Party presidential nominee. However, Democrats still have to answer questions for what happened because, again, we had a coup stage in a major party in which nobody voted for Kamala Harris, and they're now about to officially make her the Democrat Party nominee while they lecture us on democracy, right? Although it seems as if Democrats don't believe in democracy, okay? They don't value democracy within their own party, okay? And a lot of people have questions about, well, at what point in time did Democrats know that Joe Biden was mentally deteriorating, okay? Because this speaks towards their judgment and also their integrity, okay? Because if they knew that Joe Biden was not mentally fit enough to be president, why did they stand behind a man for so long, even though they knew he was not fit to serve, okay? And if they didn't know he was fit to serve, then that speaks to their judgment. Why didn't you recognize this? Okay, the world recognized it when he laid an egg on the CNN debate stage. So as somebody who works closely with Joe Biden, you should recognize that, hey, he's not the sharpest he's ever been, right? Unlike what Joe Scarborough said, okay? Joe Scarborough honestly should have been fired from MSNBC after Joe Biden humiliated himself at the CNN debate, because I'm not entirely sure how you can claim to be a credible network, which MSNBC at this point, I don't even think they try to be a credible network. I'm not entirely sure how you can employ somebody like that was just so wrong, okay, about the mental state of the president of the United States. So that brings me to this video right here of Pete Buttigieg, who is a surrogate for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. He's going on Fox News. He's going into the Lion's Den, and he's going to get pressed on a Democrat coup against Joe Biden. And this guy is going to get triggered by legitimate questions from Fox News that he would never get on CNN or MSNBC. So without further ado, let's get into it.
It's live here in Chicago in his personal capacity. Here's Walt's campaign surrogate, Pete Buttigieg. Sir, thank you so much for giving us some time this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It was a big showing for the president yesterday. They put him at 11 o'clock, though, last night. And a lot of people were saying, we love you, Joe. We love you, Joe. But he's no longer the nominee. A lot of questions, though, about it, because the New York Times writes that all the cabinet meetings that the president has been having have been scripted. They said 9 months since the latest cabinet meeting. Axios writes that he's only available for work between the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then the Wall Street Journal says when it came down to the debt ceiling negotiations back in 23, Nancy Pelosi had to take over it. Is this the reason reason why he's no longer the nominee for your party?
It's funny. Sometimes I feel like conservative media and the Republican Party still think they're running against Joe Biden. He had an opportunity last night to demonstrate his achievements, right? The fact that he is responsible, for example, for the biggest run of job growth in the history of the American presidency. I think in any job, but especially the presidency, you want to be judged by your results. People want to nitpick the show flow of a cabinet meeting when we have had a country that, when he inherited it, was in a condition where you couldn't even approach the Capitol because of the violent assaults on the Capitol by Trump supporters. Not just getting our country moving on from that, not just getting our country back on its feet from the COVID collapse, but all of the other things that he did, including, by the way, delivering the infrastructure bill that Donald Trump promised and failed to deliver.
I know you got the talking
You want to go
points
off how many hours he's in which office at what time?
But these weren't conservative outlets. I guess you could say the Wall Street Journal is. But
but you're a conservative outlet, and the first thing you're asking about is what time is at a cabinet meeting instead of achievement.
I just want to know, when did you guys know that the president was unfit to be on you?
The president is not unfit.
So why is he not the nominee right now?
Because Exactly. Right. Again, Democrats, they think people are so stupid. And that's what pisses me off about Democrats the most. It's the fact that they lie to your face and they gaslight about things that are clearly true, okay, that are clearly a part of reality. They deny reality and they say, no, that's not real. Okay, this is why I call the Democrats reality deniers, okay, because what Pete Buttigieg is saying here does not make sense. You cannot say that Joe Biden was one of the greatest presidents ever. He belongs on Mount Rushmore. This is what they've said, okay? And Pete Buttigieg, when confronted on the media reporting that, hey, Joe Biden doesn't seem to be up for the job, okay? He's not having cabinet meetings often, and when he does have cabinet meetings, they are scripted. He's also not around at certain times of the day or the night because he has to go get a nap or something, right? He's tired out. These are very legitimate concerns. And Pete Buttigieg tries to act like, well, it doesn't really matter because Joe Biden, again, he's the greatest president ever, right? He's done so much. Well, if that's the case, then why did he drop out, right? If Joe Biden was so great, if his policies were so great, why did he drop out? It doesn't make sense. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say that everything that Joe Biden did was so great and that, you know, the country's in an amazing place because of Joe Biden, but there was no nefarious reason for why he dropped out. Okay, he was so great that he decided, hey, you know what? I've accomplished so much. I'm just going to step down. My job is done here. Again, it just doesn't work that way, right? I'm not sure who is bonding to this BS, but this is what they pay people like Pete Buttigieg to do, to BS, okay? Democrats only send their best BSers to Fox News, and they're not even that good, okay? Because that is Pete Buttigieg's reputation, right? He's supposed to be a wordsmith, and he's trying to wordsmith his way through this interview, but it really just looks bad, okay? It looks slimy, it looks swarmy, it looks fake, okay? It looks like you'll just lie about anything on behalf of the Democrats, okay? And I mean, I'm not surprised because that is what Kamala Harris's whole campaign is built off of: lies and deceit and fakeness.
Why did you guys?
Because he did something that Donald Trump cannot comprehend, which is to put his ego aside.
So they're trying to make this guy a hero. Okay, they're trying to make this guy George Washington. It's like, no, bro, he did not voluntarily step down. He didn't say, oh, well, I served my country well, and I'm stepping down for the next generation. No, that's not what he did. That's not what happened. And they're trying to rewrite history and say, no, that's what happened. That's not what happened. And this is one of the reasons I really want Trump to win, is because if Kamala wins, the liberal historians will try to rewrite history and say that, oh, Joe Biden selflessly stepped down so that Kamala Harris could defeat Trump. And this is one of the reasons why he is one of the greatest presidents ever, right? This is what they'll say about Joe Biden. But if Trump wins, though, Joe Biden's probably going to lash out and say, I told you that I was the only person that could beat Trump. Right? Joe Biden would be taking a victory lap. I think low key, I think Joe Biden might be rooting for Trump. Low key, okay? Low key. I don't think that Joe Biden is the type of person that can put his ego aside. I think he was forced out because he knew that if he stayed in, the Democrats would make sure that he loses. I mean, at the point in which they all basically came out and said that Joe Biden needs to step down, I mean, he already was going to lose, okay? I mean, the genie was out of the bottle. There was no way he could really turn it around. So he was going to lose regardless. But I think that Joe Biden thinks that had that not happened, had Democrats not forced him out and came out publicly with it, that he would have won, right? I think he personally believes that. I think he's wrong, okay? But that's what he believes, okay? So again, to say that, well, Joe Biden put aside his ego, no, that's not what happened, okay? Joe Biden still thinks that he can win, okay? He still thinks that he should be the candidate. He was forced out. It's not voluntary.
I just want to get my question out. Why do you guys wait to the last minute to switcheroo after everyone saw? Can I just finish my question? And I'll let you answer, Mr. Secretary. But you guys waited until after the debate where everybody in America saw what happened that day. Mm-hmm. And all of these reports are coming out that you guys knew behind the scenes, the cabinet members were frustrated, that he couldn't do the negotiations with Nancy Pelosi and that she had to take it over.
What negotiations with Nancy Pelosi? When was
the debt ceiling in 2003, when it came down to the debt ceiling negotiations, that she had to take it over because he didn't know the talking point.
He won the debt ceiling negotiations. That's the point. You can go over whether he slips up and says one name when he wants to say another name.
Yeah, that's not what this is about, Pete. Again, this is what I don't like about this guy, right? It is the sliminess, okay? He knows damn well it's not about Joe Biden slipping up on a word or forgetting the name. That's not the point that the Fox host, Lawrence Jones, is bringing up here. No, the point is that, Joe Biden was not aware enough to be a part of the debt ceiling negotiations. Nancy Pelosi had to take over for him because he had no clue what the hell is going on. But Pete Buttigieg is trying to pretend like, oh, no, you guys are just concerned about some minor slip up. Okay, you're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. And it's like, bruh, that's not what people are talking about. This is what people like this do. I can't stand people like this. I cannot stand people like this because they try to pass off being a con artist for intelligence. This is not intelligence. This is just a con man, right? This is what this is right here. Okay, he's a professional con man.
Or you can look at what he's actually accomplished as president. It turns out he's really good at being president of the United States.
I mean, what did he accomplish? Since he's not meeting with his cabinet secretaries, he's not really leading these negotiations. He's having people take over for him because he has no clue what the hell is going on. Did he actually accomplish any of these things? Or did his handlers accomplish these things? Right? These are the questions that people have.
So let's talk about the record of the Biden-Harris administration. When you look at inflation, it's up 19.4%. When you look at the southern border, it's 8.1 encounters. When you look at crime, violent crime across 66 major cities, it's up almost 10% at 9.6%. Is that a record that you can run on?
Well, certainly the Biden-Harris record of bringing crime down compared to why crime went up under Donald Trump. And I often wonder, whether viewers of this network are aware that violent crime went up under Donald Trump. I think that
well, no, because ultimately at the end of the day, that didn't happen. In fact, violent crime under Trump went down his first 3 years in office, and it spiked in 2020 because of the pandemic. And most of the crime that was happening was where? In these super liberal cities, okay? That's the real story. So, yeah, the reason why Fox News viewers don't know that is because what you're saying is not true, right? It's not factually correct, okay? Even the crime spike in 2020 was still lower than the crime was before Trump took office. Yeah, so again, I'll reiterate, the reason why Fox News viewers don't know that is because what you're saying is not true. And unlike MSNBC, Fox News at least attempts to have some integrity, right? They attempt to do journalism, okay? That's not attempted very much on MSNBC and some of these other outlets that Pete Buttigieg likes to frequent.
Deserves more coverage so we can ask ourselves why. And some of that has to do with policy, but some of that has to do with the message we send. When you have Donald Trump, an unrepentant convicted criminal, running against a prosecutor like Kamala Harris.
What's funny about that is that Trump was not convicted during the time in which he was president. So what does that have to do with crime spiking? The question really should be, okay, well, what policy under Trump led to more crime? Please explain, Pete Buttigieg. First and foremost, what you're saying is wrong, okay? But let's assume you're correct, which you're not. Which policy under Trump led to more crime, right? How did Trump, being a convicted felon, lead to more crime when he was not a convicted felon at that point in which he was president? Again, this is what I'm talking about. This is BS. This is con artistry right here from Pete Buttigieg. I can't stand these type of people. I really can't.
We have an opportunity to send a message about whether we're serious on law and order in this country or whether it's a talking point, whether it's just something people try to use as a political theme for partisan gain. You want to talk about inflation? Inflation went up in every country after COVID, but we brought inflation down in this country. Of course, the most important question, every election is about the future, right? And in the future, economists predict that the Trump plan will increase costs for American families by $3,900. So why would we go back to somebody's going to make it worse?
I don't want you to think that the crime issue or inflation issue is something new, because I've been covering it for years. I go out there and talk with voters every single day.
So you did cover the increase of crime under Trump.
Yesterday, I had the opportunity to talk with a mother. She's not a Republican. She's someone that would vote for a Democrat most of the time. Many of the people that are complaining are actually Democrats. This is what she said yesterday when I asked her about her son. Watch.
How can I vote for somebody who I don't feel like has my back? Or any parent who lost their child's back? You want me to vote for you? What are you going to do for me? You say what you're going to do, but when you get in office, do you really do what you said you're going to do? I don't think so. Because this crime has been going on for decades, and it's getting sickening to watch parents on TV crying about the loss of their child.
So with respect to you, Mr. Secretary, the people that are being killed in places all over the country, they look like me, they don't look like you. And they're upset with the Democratic Party not taking it seriously. You guys sent the cavalry in.
Not taking it seriously.
Hold on, let me finish. You guys sent the cavalry. You guys sent the cavalry in for you guys for your protection. But the people of Chicago don't see that on a day-to-day basis. What are you guys going to do to stop the bloodshed in our community?
Well, first of all, I was mayor of a city that faced that kind of pain. The toughest part of the job was dealing with gun violence, and the most heartbreaking part of the job was comforting or trying to comfort mothers who just wanted their child back. And the big question, I think, for politics, for policy, for media, is who is going to help them versus who is going to use them. The questions she's asking are the exact question any citizen should be asking, which is when you take office.
What do you mean?
Are you going to keep your promises?
Are you saying that mother is being used?
I'm saying that mother is asking the exact right question. And the question is, what are you going to actually do when you come into office? Now, we're getting a lot of people speaking up about...
Just tell me what you
can't. He can't. He's trying to wordsmith his way through it. He can't tell you what he's going to do because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. What they actually really should be talking about here is not what's going to happen at the federal level, but what is going to happen at the local level. Okay? Are Democrats going to stand up to the far left prosecutors that are allowing crime to run rampant in these cities? Are they going to stand up to the far left mayors? Are they going to get them out of office? That is what they actually should be saying, right? What Democrats should be saying is that, yeah, we disavow far left progressive prosecutors, and we will not support them as a party because they're causing chaos, crime, and destruction, right? That, along with encouraging more law and order, speaking out against these far leftists who riot in the streets, okay, who destroy, who create chaos and destruction, and also, again, advocating for the law to be enforced against these individuals. Yeah, that would be a great step in the right direction. But again, they're never going to do that because it will upset their far left base. So again, he doesn't have any answers.
You guys are
I'll tell you exactly
what you've
we're going
done to stop the bloodshed.
Actually confront gun violence. 90% of Americans, more than 80% of Republicans, think we ought to at least be doing universal background checks. But Donald Trump says no. The Republican Party says no. You talk about assault weapons, something that made a difference when that assault weapons ban contributed to the reduction in crime. I remember coming to Chicago as a kid. And by the way, even though some media only want to talk about the worst and most painful things that go on in our city, Chicago is a proud city. Chicago is an extraordinary city. But I do remember...
Again, it's so funny how this guy tries to attribute the decline in crime to the assault weapons ban when there's no evidence at all that that's actually true. Okay, most people do not use so-called assault weapons when committing crimes. Also, on top of that, that bill was passed in 1994, right? That ban was passed. You know, also was passed that year as well too. The crime bill, right? Joe Biden's crime bill, okay? Which I think contributed to the reduction in crime. And, you know, if Democrats actually got back to their roots, okay, maybe, just maybe, they would have a solution, right? But they don't want to do that. They want to blame everything else except what the real problem is. The real problem is that we're not locking up enough people anymore, right? We got to start locking up violent criminals and throwing away the key. And repeat offenders as well, too.
Coming here when crime and murder was off the charts. And the work that went on to bring it down from those levels that we saw in the past, the work that's going on to save lives right now is something that deserves the backing.
There was over 20 people shot last week, 5 people shot over the weekend.
Then why would we elect leaders who won't do anything about gun violence?
Well, again, you're talking about a city of Chicago that already has strict gun control. So, again, I'm not entirely sure. What more do you want, right? What more do you want? You're in a city that already has stringent gun laws. So more of them is clearly not going to make a difference.
Democrats have run the city. Name the Republican that is in charge.
All right, but this is really important, right?
No, tell me. One Republican in charge of Chicago.
Well, hold on.
Name them.
Listen to me, because not only did we have those levels of crime under Democratic and Republican leaders, right? But people try to cherry pick this for partisan purposes. You want to play that game?
It's not partisan.
We can talk about
I told you, Mr. Mayor, they look like me, not you.
Yeah, and so is the case in Boston, where there is a much lower murder rate, and also a Democratic mayor. We could talk about how the murder rate in Mississippi is double what it is in Illinois. Now, I could go around saying
now, again, what is the reason for that? The reason for that is because most of these murders occur in these liberal cities. I love when liberals bring up the statistics about how there's more gun violence in red states, right? But then when you look at, okay, well, where is the violence occurring? It's occurring in all these liberal cities that also just happen to be mostly black, right? Especially in the South. It's just funny how that works. When you actually deep dive into these red states and you see where the problems are occurring, the narrative falls apart, right?
The murder rate in Mississippi is double what it is in Illinois because Mississippi has a Republican governor and Illinois has a Democratic governor. But you and I both know it just doesn't work that way.
I got you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much. I want to go to the Kamala economic agenda. This is some of the criticism that has come out. The Washington Post editorial board said on Friday, the Times demands serious economic ideas. Harris supplies gimmicks. CNN Business says on Friday, Harris plans to stop price gauging could create more problems than it solved. The Hill says as of Friday, Kamala's economic plan is about to drop and high prices are here to stay. I talked to one voter yesterday. This is what he had to say about proposing ideas to address our community. Let's watch.
I don't think I want to vote for Kamala just like that either. And I'm a Democrat.
So why is that? Do you feel like she has released the plan to fix the community or anything like that?
Not at all. I feel like she hasn't spoken about things that she wants to do as far as making it better.
You can see, Mr. Secretary, I go speak to average day people. He's a Democrat. He may even vote for Kamala Harris, but he says there's no plan been released.
Well, a plan's been released, but it's our job to communicate that to every voter. We need to make sure that they understand what we're going to do to maintain the historic job growth. And we need to lay out the contrast, right? Ask people, why was job growth so much worse under Donald Trump than it is today under Biden-Harris? And
again, you have the government paying for most of the jobs that are being created under the Biden administration. In fact, in 2023, a vast majority of the jobs came from the government directly. Healthcare, which basically is the government, and hospitality, which are low quality jobs. Okay. Also, you have a lot of these jobs that were coming back as a result of the pandemic winding down. So again, when you actually get into the reasons, it's like, well, none of these things are actually really good reasons for Joe Biden and the Democrats, right? But again, Pete Buttigieg relies on people being ignorant and not knowing these things while he spews his talking points and lies.
Yeah, and most importantly, like every election, it's about the future. Now, we want to talk about prices. We want to talk about inflation.
Economists think things are going well right now?
Well, definitely a lot better than they were under Donald Trump, right? I grew up in the industrial Midwest. I saw weeds pushing up between the asphalt of parking lots of factories. They told us those union jobs were never coming back. They told us that we were done making things. That's changed. We have a manufacturing boom today. Yeah. Compared to the manufacturing recession that we experienced under Donald Trump. And that was before COVID, let alone, of course, all the jobs that were lost after that. But every election is about the future. And in the future, economists estimate that Trump's plan to tax goods coming into this country will increase costs on a typical family by $3,900. We disagree with that.
You're going to have a great opportunity today. You got a speech tonight to lay out the future for the party. We look forward to seeing it, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, this guy's a snake, right? Con artist, okay? Can't stand him. This is who Democrats send to Fox News to BS, right? One of their best BSers, and he's not even that good at it. Again, if you understand exactly what he's talking about, yeah, this guy's full of it, right? He's so full of it. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.